All right, today I want to talk about how I'm learning to sit with discomfort and uncertainty while building something new. Just sitting here at the park today doing what grounds me and going to share by talking about why those small moments matter and what feels right to me or you as an individual listening. And I want to talk about how my brain works, like being aware to what moves me and when I'm most productive. Like going to a cafe to sit where I can charge my phone and computer rather than being in the house or around other people, even family. And this matter when you are working on something. I don't know if it comes from being in the work environment for so long, but I asked AI to give science back and research on this behavior so I can share from my personal experience, and it might be helpful to someone else to think for themselves and pay attention to self-protection in the process. For example, you don't have to get an attitude or tell people to get away from you, or you get your private time for progressing privacy. And it came back and said, you're describing a very real, very normal pattern. Some brains focus better in semi-public structured spaces like a cafe. I'm gonna say Starbucks area, even though I try to stay out of Starbucks now, where you can sit down, plug your computer in, plug your phone in, and get drained or scattered, at home, where you get drained or scattered at home or around familiar people, and there's solid science that explains this. Then they go on to list ways in which you can understand your own pattern by explaining what you notice about yourself, then connect it to research on the environments that you're in, how much attention span you're dealing with at the moment, and boundaries, without shaming anyone or needing to go off on others to protect your space. Like, get the hell away from me. Okay, so for me personally, why cafes can feel so productive. Researchers talk about the coffee shop effect. They got something that's called that. Many people concentrate better in a neutral public space than at home. Several factors are at work here. It's the change of scenery and novelty. New surroundings lightly stimulate the brain, which can boost motivation, alertness, and creativity compared to the same room every day. Ambient noise, that sweet spot. Moderate background noise around 70 to 80 decibels. The typical cafe level has been shown to improve performance on creative tasks as long as it's not overwhelmingly loud. And I noticed that the music in the cafe is, I don't know, it helps with the brain or something, but when I was at the park the other day, the music that an individual was playing, I was like, I can't focus, so I really know what the breakdown of a noise decibel is, but all I know is that it really works for me. Fewer personal distractions, home associated with relaxing, caregiving chores, scrolling, and people who feel entitled to your attention. So your brain doesn't automatically switch into deep work mode there. My cafe habit has been, I've learned my brain likes neutral spaces, like a background noise and fewer emotional hooks. So that's where I go to do my most focused work. The environment and the work brain I have developed, which is years in structured work environments. It trains your brain to perform under certain conditions. Association learning. If your most intense focus for decades happened in offices or hospitals, your nervous system pairs not at home, plus structured space with this time to lock in. That subtle social pressure. Being around strangers who are reading, typing, or studying can create a sense of accountability. Now that happens to be true for me in what psychologists call social facilitation, without anyone actually supervising you. Then role switching. At home and with family, your role is or can be a supporter, relative, friend, which makes it harder to drop into creator, CEO, writer mode. A separate space helps you mentally clock into that role. So after 20 plus years in federal service, my brain still associates out of the house, at a table, laptop open, with "we're on duty now, get to work." Cafés give me that without the politics and the pressure. Why being away from family can actually be self-protection. It says here that neuroscience and occupational health research shows that privacy and control over your workspace are key to emotional health. Privacy reduces emotional exhaustion. Studies find that low privacy, open environments lead to more emotional burnout than spaces where people can close a door or have some separation. Boundaries preserve energy. When you're always available, your brain has to constantly context switch between your work and other people's needs, which drains focus and willpower. That's why I'm sitting here like feeling so scatterbrained and stuck, like, what's next, you know? So anyway, psychological safety. Having a place where you won't be watched, judged, or interrupted, even by people you love. Let your nervous system relax enough to do deep thinking and creative work. You know, and rather than someone stopping you and say, "Why are you doing that?" or you know, stuff like that. This is where you can normalize it for your audience. Needing space from people you love isn't rejection. It's nervous system maintenance. It's you saying, "Let me put my oxygen mask on so no one can show up better later, so I can show up better later." Knowing what moves you, getting to know thyself better, never hurt anyone or can cause great pain in some individuals. I don't know, depending on who you are. Self-awareness is about when and where your brain works best, is a core part of productivity and mental health. So, some questions I often ask myself are things like, what time of day do I naturally feel the most upbeat and sharpest? Morning, afternoon, late night? Me personally, get up 5, 6 a.m. and that's my spot. My time to think, you know. In which places do I feel most like the focused version of me? Home, cafe, library, co-working. Do I think better with silence, low chatter, or music in the background? I've done all the above. What do I need nearby to feel secure enough to focus? An outlet, a wall at my back, exit in sight, good lighting, things of that nature. Then I get comfortable and connected to self-protection. This is what it looks like to study your own brain, like data. Once you know your conditions, you stop forcing yourself into environments that drain you or put you on edge. The science behind productive privacy. Environmental psychology shows that certain workspace features directly affect focus and well-being. The key ingredients that line up with that it says that I'm doing is control over stimulation. Being able to choose your noise level, the seating and lighting leads to better focus and low stress. Personalization. When people can choose and shape their workspace, they feel more ownership and less emotional exhaustion. Micro boundaries. Even small cues like headphones, sitting against the wall, or facing away from the crowd can create a sense of, this is my little office right now. Listen, productive privacy doesn't always mean isolation. It means enough control over your environment that your brain doesn't have to stay on guard. Calm and non-attitude ways to protect your space. My instincts that you don't need to have an attitude to protect your time, and it's supported by research on social environments and creativity. Here are a few boundary moves I'd like to share. I'm learning for myself. All out, upfront movement. For example, I'm doing a 90-minute work block. After that, I'm free to talk or help. Saying something like this reduces interruptions without conflict. Another one is those non-verbal signals. I mean, we do this on the street. Like, don't you see I got headphones on? Why are you trying to talk to me? Having on headphones, a notebook open, or sitting facing away from the main traffic are gentle cues that you're in a focus zone. And here are a couple of things you can say that is not harsh, but with care. I really want to give you my full attention. Let me finish this block and I'm all yours. Another one is, this project is important for our future. I'm going to step out for a few hours to lock in on it. Choosing the environment instead of fighting people, instead of arguing with family about noise or interruptions, you simply can pick an environment that already supports your focus. For me, like the cafe, the park, things of that nature. Research on creativity shows that feeling watched, judged, or controlled kills creativity. So reducing those triggers without drama is actually a self-protective strategy. My brain needs a cafe, not the couch. I've had many a days like this where I would go to the library and stay for only a couple of minutes. Then I would walk around the city and find somewhere to sit and take in the air and watch people walking, eating, talking, laughing, walking their dogs, running. Then I would get up and walk into a place where I would say, let me try their coffee. And sometimes it's a welcoming feel, good spot to where I sit at a table, plug in my phone, and pull out something to work on. And felt like I actually got something done. And now get back home and the feeling of happiness to do chores, organize, things of that nature just energized me and just came, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. So to be able to choose your workspace schedule and boundaries is a form of self-protection, not selfishness, with that privacy burnout research as backup. You don't have to be mean to be private. I used to get so angry and snapping to get my space, my mind, and quiet time. And the current me just try every way possible to get calm and finding strategic locations, which help me to connect it to how my nervous system needs safety to create. Studying my own data up here. This has been so cool to track my mind and thoughts to where I have worked what time it was, what time was it around, who was I around, and how focused I felt to discover my very own personal pattern. People are trip. Anyway, chilling at the park now, feeling how the wind is hitting my body and how the backgrounds of the soccer players and the cars that are blasting the music they love while the overhead train passes by every so often, and the different types of people that walk by, either walking their dogs or just walking and possibly taking in some of the same as I. That's it. I just wanted to share that today. Smile. Peace.